think there's potential. It's just up to you.
Okay, well, so I'm going to end this room. This is Pepe the Movie Part 3 clipped. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to start a new one. Find the new run with the more scandalous.
Free Palestine.
Here we go.
Honestly, I think you could make a pretty good social media series just like Bustin', BHI, or Afrocentrist, or Hotep. Just them alone can provide some funny content. But.
Sure, but when you go on X Spaces, like 2 years ago when I started going on X Spaces, what ended up happening is you had large neo-Nazi rooms, like a few hundred people in them. Then you had you have this guy, it's like the general, and then he'd do a show with this salty girl, have a few hundred people in his. Now on X you have like 24/7 JQ, and it's which, you know, there's some overlap with the white identitarian people. They've always got a few hundred people in their rooms. It's like literally saturated with like pro-white people and that kind of stuff. And you also have like a large presence of the black identitarians and all the flavors. They come in and they do debate and fight on there all the time. And it's just like, dude, it's also just boring now. Like, I don't even like talking about it as much anymore, because it's like for a few years I've had these conversations like every fucking day, and it just gets old. And I'm not gonna lie, maybe one of the the Overton windows shifted so much in the last few years. Now you have like protests, like yesterday in Australia, you had tens of thousands. I think it was 150,000 in one city. And they're all like anti-immigrant. They're anti-immigration protests, and you have. It's like, I think my views are far more mainstream now, and so I did kind of revel in being the bad guy. Like, I actually liked that role. Like, I got a big fucking kick out of being the pariah.
Why? I mean, you could have a.
I don't know.
Why? You're so much more useful. Don't do that.
At least
in my opinion, you are far, 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 far more useful with your brain when you don't do that shit, like, rather than when you do. When you do, it like takes you down into the gutter, and you're somebody who's capable of not getting down to the gutter. It seems, in my opinion, it detracts from your overall argument. But that's just me.
Yeah, well, I don't really try to persuade people anymore, especially on this app. Everybody knows each other. I think there's other forces kind of persuading people to be more, if you're white, at least like really rethinking the whole multiculturalism thing and the demographic change, and kind of saying, well, no, fuck all of this. We kind of like our identity and wish to keep our countries.
Dude, I always feel weird about that, because I don't have any like white identitarian beliefs at all. It's not one of those things I think about. I don't like, because of where I grew up and because of where you grew up, like, you're mostly Hispanic. You may not look it, but like, all of the customs, the manners, the words, they relate to that. And I relate far more to being in a Hispanic community than I do relate to being a white guy. Like, to be frank, I find getting in the middle of a bunch of white people weird. They're weird fucking groups of people. They do weird shit. Yeah. And that's always kind of been my bearing on it. Like, somebody once told me I needed to feel bad for other white people, and I was like, I just don't. There's nothing about that makes me feel bad. Like, I feel bad you may not have a lot of money, but like, there's no identitarian measure there for me. I don't understand how people grip so hard to that. It's never made sense to me.
Well, I'm not somebody who advocates necessarily that you have to do that on a personal level, but I'm saying when I talk about demographic changes, that is when I see it being a disaster, and that's always been my point. Like I don't like it is in the British people's best interest to remain overwhelmingly British.
And there is no threat. There is no imminent threat to there being any sort of demographic like swing. Like there's a much more. No, not when it comes down to the UK. Like 83% of the UK is freaking white, man. The Anglo.
Yeah, but that changes quickly.
Anywhere. That not as quick as you're thinking. You know,
sure it does.
You sound the alarm when the
1965.
10%.
Sure, but 1965 we were 90% white. Now we're nearing half.
Well, again, it's not. First of all, no we. But at the end of the day, there is a problem, and there is a demographic collapse. There is a growth rate that it can't sustain a specific society. Like any society, you just can't sustain them at those growth rates. And the West, Western Europe, and just in general the West, is below this standard growth rate. So they need immigrants. It's not even optional.
Yeah, they are below replacement rate. So, and it depends on how you get those immigrants. I don't disagree with you that they're vital. I think lots of immigrants are vital, to be frank. But it depends on like how they come. If they're coming into the country illegally, that's going to have a whole other constituency of people who are opposed.
Amazing. People are always going to oppose a policy regardless of how great. But at the end of the day, in the West, if it wasn't productive, if the good didn't outweigh the evil, I would highly doubt that it would have remained a policy.
Well, I'll let Dr. or Jay go. He wanted to talk, but I think it's benefiting mainly the wealthy, not us.
At the end of the day, your enemy is
the only rabbinical pseudo scholar on stage. I want to offer that I think Donald Trump is to blame for this, whether he's done good things for the world, the country, the universe or not. He has breached the I don't want to say the moral. His moral compass needs to be calibrated. The things that he does encourages us to behave somewhat out of sorts, if you will, as a populace. And so, like, if I was a high school student, I would be like, why do I have to listen to a single goddamn rule? Look at all the things that are broken every day. So that's just my take. Take it for what it's worth. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I mean, I can't help but look at, like, I don't know. I do think like I don't look at immigrants as like the cause or how do I put it? The ones initiating, even them immigrating. There's obvious push and pull factors, but I would say though, I think that leadership and I'm just gonna flat out say it, the wealthy in the United States, places like the UK, that they trying to fuel. I personally believe they hate the fucking middle class. They're willing to find any way possible to gut them, flood countries with cheap labor, more people to consume shit, to undermine the middle class. I look at it as like really a failure that comes from the top in our countries. And, we don't have to ask why migrants are coming to our countries. It's obvious why they're doing it. But I don't think it's healthy. And it's not necessarily because they aren't white. It's multiculturalism has like a 0% success rate. There's never a kumbaya moment. It's always going to be a fight for power, and religious and ethnic lines are two of the primary fault lines where they do not agree to kumbaya. It's always going to end up in a power struggle, and sometimes it gets very violent. And I'm not
Depends on
willing
how
to do
long you
that.
can stretch shit out.
Hi,
Like
excuse
not
me.
all countries that are multicultural last the same amount of time, right? Like think of Rome in the 450s with the Visigoths and
From in the
Ostrogoths,
450s.
right? Like they called
Hey,
us
my
the
name is
barbarian
Marshall
horde,
Rankin, and let's talk
right?
about Rome
And
in the
they got combined
450s.
and took over their culture. So I mean, I think that's at least something important to note.
Okay, so we have a room open called
Just-
Pepe Gets Clipped
Sorry, go ahead.
Countdown. We'll see how long
I'm just
till
summarizing
he
what
gets
you're saying.
clipped. We also just reported his
Donna had
account.
something to say. The men were a little louder. Go ahead,
I'm
Donna.
sorry, Pepe. I didn't want to interrupt because I was sitting here just listening to what all you gentlemen had to